Well, we return from the Premier League winter break very much in trouble with Southend United. We're in the midst of a relegation battle with our key striker out suspended due to stupidity. And over the next 10 days, we face three of the sides around us, and two of them could put us in the bottom three. Yes, hello, and welcome along to part 59 of Saving Southend with me, Daniel. We are back today to face Norwich City, managed by Thomas Thomasberg, what a name. And then we've got deadline day and potentially Forest at home as well. We'll see how busy the end of the transfer window is. To give you perspective of how important the next three games are, I'll move you so you can see the whole league table. We face 14th place Norwich away from home today. And then we face Forest and Southampton in a two after, the two sides directly below us. It does look like two sides are starting to drift away at the bottom again. And maybe it is going to be that battle for 18th for the second season in a row. But if we look at the more positive side of things, if we win our games in hand, we could catch Liverpool, who are struggling in 13th on 27 points. So if you're looking forward to seeing how we get on today, away at Norwich, a very important match. And please do put a thumbs up on the video. The only good news I'm taking from it, looking at their team news, is that they've got some key strikers out injured. So maybe we can find a way to hold on. It's been a frustrating transfer window because we just can't find the improvements we need. The player that we tried to sign in the summer at centre-half, who we just missed out on, who was a bit injury prone, he's now gone 5 months later to Real Madrid, which does show you that we've maybe dropped the ball on that one. But if we have a look at January so far, it's just been one player in, it's been a few players out. We've had to trim the squad. I've tried to get rid of some of the unhappiness and some of the players that have been a liability for us. So we know that Pablo Fornell's last episode had thrown his toys out the pram. He's gone to Valladolid for 325 grand. I mean, it's a profit, but model sitters are my backside based on his average attitude when he was here. Divin Mabama has gone out on loan because, of course, we got in a couple of bonus players up front. The loan deals for Fernandez and Adowu, plus the return to form of Hugill have really helped us. That means that Mabama's not really featured. He keeps getting injured as well, so we've sent him to Stoke to get some championship football, and he scored one in his first three appearances. Christian Jigel, much the same. We're retraining as a striker, so we've sent him on loan to Huddersfield. Hopefully he'll get regular football there and do really well. Not played despite joining since the 9th though, so what's going on there? I need to find out why he's not been playing. If we go over to Huddersfield, because it said he was going to be a regular starter, and he just hasn't been, and they've been in awful form. So maybe they'll get a change of manager, and hopefully a change of attitude on Jigel. We will have a talk about him in a minute. Let's move on to the other three youngsters from the squad. Ayrton Moses has moved on to Fleetwood on loan the rest of the year. Micah Hutchinson has gone to Trinidad to play for Defence Force. And Carl Allsop, who again has thrown his toys out the pram like Fornells. He was unhappy that he was playing right back sometimes rather than just centre half. So he's gone out on loan and he'll play in a championship where Birmingham City will be his feeder club. In replacements, we've not got anything at senior level really, just one pre-agreed transfer for a young left back from Northern Ireland. 500 grand from Larne was the cost for David Harkin, an international already. Not a bad player as you can see, and wouldn't go back on loan to his former club, wouldn't go out on loan from us, but he's got big potential, he's a good young player, and I do see him being a star in the future, so hopefully he can reach that potential. We'll try and get him a few games off the bench before the end of the year. We've also got him working in a mentoring group because his determination, his attitude, his personality, pretty average at the moment if we're being honest. I don't know if I mentioned it in the last episode, so I will just quickly briefly go over it now. Danny Walker did leave the club for St Pat's Athletic. Never quite reached his potential, but would have been handy if we were a championship club. As it is, we've got a sell-on clause plus 80 odd grand. We've done all right out of it for a free agent signing. Let's move over to the schedule though and see what's been happening since you were here, because it's been a bit of a mixed bag, let's be honest. You were with me at the end of that horrible run on paper, as we played Liverpool in the Carabao Cup and City at home in the Premier League. We did bounce back with two crucial results after, with our strikers delivering. Away at West Ham, Teddy Ivanov very much the hero, though we did create a nervy finish straight after our second goal, and we had an injury to the goalkeeper, which we had to be quite careful with towards the end. At home to Villa, a 3-1 victory was a really good performance and result. 2 for Hugill as we retook the lead just before half-time, and as they were chasing it late on, we got a set piece, and Harrison Parker did the rest from that. Into January, it went backwards a little bit. We were shocked in the FA Cup with a fairly rotated side, but the biggest problem from this game was the injury to Diogo Fernandez, a few other players poorly performing, and of course, the following games didn't go great either. A really good result at home to United, a 3-3 draw, with Teddy Ivanov and Joe Hugill getting 2. But the fact we were 3-2 up and blew it in the 94th minute after making all the defensive changes, it was such a frustration. It was a poor goal to concede, and it ended up costing us a crucial 3 points. Then we went away to Brighton, and Teddy Ivanov, I don't know what to say. We started well. Ivanov got sent off for another one of those stupid lunges in the 17 minutes, which just seems to be cropping up again at the moment. And then we let in 2 on the stroke of half time. Caljo dropped one in his net. Cameron Ishmael made a big mistake, and it was curtains from there. It was a really frustrating day. But now we've got 3 crucial games, and to be fair, looking at Liverpool's position, you could argue it's 6 crucial games going till the end of February. But we've got to get the job done, because bar the last 2 of the season, the running prior to that is City, Everton, Arsenal, Chelsea, sides right at the top of the table and sides with the strongest squads in the division. So we've got to survive this, and we've got to fight to make sure we do. Let's go and get through to the fixtures and into today's game. Norwich away is a big one for us in the battle for relegation survival from the Premier League. Norwich have got Dominic Solanke, a player we know well from our head coach save this year. Who's that up front with him? Cole Jones, a youth player. Wow, he's not bad at 21, is he? They've got Zolis on the left-hand side, Kilman at the back, Angus Gunn in goal, Buendia's back there at Norwich as well. There are some familiar names in that side, and there are some very good players there too. So let's look at what we can put out, because we've had the winter break, so everyone is fit, bar those who were injured already. Now, Diogo Fernandez is fit, and it says 45 minutes. My question here is, do I do that from the start, or do I do that later in the game? Idowu could come in, and we could play either him or Hugill as an advanced forward, in fairness. I think Idowu's actually better as an advanced forward than he is as a target man. And Hugill's probably the same, to be fair. Both of them have got the ability to do it. So I'm going to start Idowu on this occasion. Fernandez on the bench, because we're going to need him at home at the weekend when we play Southampton and Forest, because those games are absolutely pivotal. Harrison had a poor game last time out, so I'm going to bring Martin Cox in for him. But the rest of the team, I think I'm going to stick with. It's tempting to take out Ishmael, who's not been great this year. So maybe Lejnik in there as well. But aside from that, we're about as strong as we can be. I should mention I accepted an offer for Jack Morehouse from Huddersfield. It was a deal of about $5.5 million in the future after a 6-month loan. But he rejected the permanent contract there, so didn't move on. I'm just seeing if there's a way to put him on the bench today, but Smith and Harrison are better. We've got to live with the reality. This is the team we're going for in full. Caljo between the sticks, who had been decent prior to the last game. Adeniji and Lejnik, the fullbacks, with Emir Williams and Harrison Parker at centre-half. The development of Emir Williams, one of the positives this season. He is becoming a good centre-half now. Takatsuka and Amiu are on the wings, with Cox and Jimenez in the middle. Then up front is Hugill and Idowu. The 2 target men will combine, because with the injuries in the advanced forward role, we need someone different to shine there today. Let's go and get into it away at Carrow Road and see if we can get a crucial result. Anything other than a defeat, and I'll be a happy man. Well, those 2 coming into the front line for Norwich are both changes today, actually. They've got a very strong bench as well, and a few players missing out on the squad who must be either injured or unavailable, because the likes of Destiny Udogie, the likes of Jonathan Rowe, you would imagine a first team level here. Despite that, they've got a good sub-goalkeeper. Calvin Ramsey, a name that many will know well. Harwood Bellis, we had in our Twitch save, didn't we? It's a good defensive subs. Matthias Franker's a good player. It's a decent side. I would actually argue we're pretty similarly matched now. We've managed to develop a bit, and of course these lads have settled in now. We've managed to get people gelled. The team bonding has worked to an extent. But the problem when you have a team full of young players is consistency. And while we've kept a few of those players that have been here a while around, I mean, you look at this team today, bar Parker and bar Hugill, I don't think anyone was here before we got to the Premier League. Sam Ammo on loan technically, but the other 8 are all new signings either this year or last. It's a complete revolution of the squad. We've got a lot of those original boys on the bench and we've tried to keep a few involved, but we don't understand at times how much we've overturned this squad and how much it's going to benefit us in the future if we survive this year. As O'Brien heads away for Norwich as far as Adeniji, who breaks down the right to the byline. Ball up to Hugill, who hits the woodwork. And that is potentially the one benefit today. By the fact we've got 2 big players in the box, we're going to be able to be a threat from headers, from set pieces, but also from crosses as well. If we get the delivery right like Adeniji did there, we could have a bit of a field day. But with 5 minutes to the break, we've had 1 shot on target. And it's been a pretty awful game, but in truth, I would take a 0-0 here. If we get through the dressing room and keep working hard, hopefully we get a positive response. Well, Norwich can't be happy because with 55 minutes gone, they've made 4 changes and they've now had to make a 5th due to injury. We could do with them getting a keeper injury now. Jimenez has picked up a stub toe, but it doesn't seem to be affecting him. And he is one of the best players on the pitch. So with 20 to go, I'm going to bring on Diogo Fernandez for Rashid Adowu, who looks nervous. I'm not going to change too much else because we're playing all right. I'm going to bring Volsky on the right. He's pretty much a like for like with Takat Zuka. But otherwise, I'm going to leave it be because we are doing well. As Adeniji has got a throw on the right for the sub Fernandez. Chips it over the top towards Hugill, who knocks it down. It's away as far as Franco, who's got a knock and can't come off. Big switch of play to Sam Ammo. Good ball out. Can he find the cross? There's big men in the middle. And there's Diogo Fernandez. And he heads it just over the bar. Fully fit and fully sharp. He probably scores that. With 15 to go, it remains 0-0. And we are slightly edging the game, but probably not enough to get excited. I'm going to change Lejnik for Ismail at left back. Well, I know I'm not. He's nervous. Didn't realise. I'm going to take off Martin Cox for Alfie Harrison, who, bar the last game, has been very good this year. Now, I'm not going to force myself to make the 5 subs if the options aren't there. We might make some time-wasting ones if we score here, though. Sam Ammo, with 4 to go, has a corner. And on the left-hand side, puts the outswinger in. Emir Williams is up, but loses out. It's away as far as Volsky, who can charge down that right wing. Good early ball in. Hugill's up. 1-0, Southend United. What a big one that is from Hugill. Great cross for Volsky. 50th goal for the club. And he's really hit form in the last few months or so, after a disappointing 12 months with the club. Let's get a fresh legs on here. We've got Jimenez struggling in the middle. So PJ Smith will come on as a deep line playmaker on support. Volsky will drop to a support duty. And I'm tempted to take Hugill off as well, but I don't really have the option. So I'll just go Allen for Sam Ammo. Then we're going to drop the fullbacks to defensive duties as we go into 5 minutes of stoppage time. And you all know the drill from here, don't you? We're going to time waste all the time. We're going to play for set pieces. And I know at times this hasn't worked out. It didn't work against United. But generally, it's been very good to us. So I'm going to stick with it. Let's confirm the changes. Get into the last 5. In previous games, I'd had Adowa on the bench, so he'd come on and gone into the number 10 role. But it doesn't matter here. A big 1-0 win for Southend United. What a time to turn up. We just about edged the game. And we've proven everyone wrong with a massive win. That takes the pressure off going into deadline day. We'll see if we can find any magic in the window. We'll see if our director of football can do anything as well. But for now, we stay in 16th, but 5 points clear of the bottom 3. That was one of our games in hand by the looks of it, and we've made some serious ground. You look at it now, we're as close to 11th as we are the bottom 3. A really good week for us so far. Let's get ahead to deadline day and see if we can make anything happen. Well, it's transfer deadline day at Southend, and we're expecting a pretty quiet one. It's probably going to be more about whether certain people go out. The only area I'm really desperate for a replacement, if we can get it, is a squad player that can play right back, because Josh Brooking this season, he's proven he's not great already. I know his average rating defies that, but just trust me, he's not good enough for this. Jack Morehouse, of course, may also be on his way out if we get an appropriate offer. He's a really decent player, and I feel guilty because he's come from the National League with us, but I can't give him the football he deserves now, and I don't want him just sitting here wasting his career. The rest of it, though, there's not a huge amount we can do. We maybe look at a striker in the short term because, again, We've had problems with Ivanov. We've got Fernandez and Adoba on loan. We're not sold there for the long term. But again, the players we've looked at before, like this guy, Adam Mohamed, just don't quite offer enough for us at the price point they want. They want to be our record transfer, our record earner, and they're not actually better than the best two at the club. So while we will have a look around for players, we'll continue to work with a scouting team and a recruitment team. We'll continue to allow the director of football to make bids for players they want. I'm not expecting a great deal on the ins front today. Let's have a look at who we're linked with here, though. Charlie MacArthur is a 25-year-old centre-half who's not bad, actually. And he's on a fairly low wage for a player that's gone over there. Let's see what he would want. The report from this month suggesting that he would want 50 grand a week in wages, which to be a backup defender behind Williams, and of course Parker, doesn't quite seem right. Huddersfield have been linked with Morehouse. Oh, so we're only actually linked with one player. Amenda is still on the club's radar as a backup plan. Who's this? I mean, he's a good defender, but I'm not paying 23 million for a player in the bottom half of the championship. If he was available for a little bit, I'd take him. But no, I'm not paying 23 million or 53 grand a week in wages. That's ridiculous. Let's have a look at the rest of the transfer rumours, see if there's anything else going on. We're also linked with Andy Lyons from Bristol City, who is actually a good right back as well. But is he going to be the sort of player we can rely on long term? Should we be signing 30-year-old backups? I mean, maybe in this instance, it's the right move. He's got a great personality too. Let's see how he compares to Josh Brooking on the comparison wheel. There he is. Very similar place. Oh, God, Lions is streets ahead. So, yeah, that might be a deal if we can get it done. That does happen before the end of the day. We'll be back later on once we've made our offer. We'll see what happens because he has only got 5 months on his contract. So, we might get him on a cheap deal. Right then, we have a couple of bits of news as we come back early in the day. The first of which, may be a solution, is that Ezra Harrington has returned from a loan deal as a right back, but he's been at Motherwell, he's not done that great, and he's wanted on loan again, so we've offered him out. We will add him to the squad just in case, but if he plays for us, then he won't be able to go out on loan again, so we've got to be quite careful with that one. We've also got a loan offer from Crawley for David Harkin, who of course is the left back we've just signed. Now, in League 2, I'm sure he won't be a fringe player. It seems to be a glitch in this FM that's popping up an awful lot. We've asked them to cover the wages, which they will. We'll see how he gets on there. We have made an offer for Andy Lyons. They're kind of pushing us a little bit here. So I'm going to try and just get as much of it on the after league appearances as possible because he won't play 50 league games. I can assure you of that. So 4 million as a guaranteed fee is fine for me, and we know we won't have to pay the rest, which is done. And if we can get him in, then Josh Brooking and Harrington can go out on loan. 2 hours into the day, maybe it's going to be busier than I thought. Well, here are the terms that Andy Lyons wants, and the big question for me is going to be about the length of contract, because if he wants a longer one, we're going to be in trouble. No, he only wants 2.5 years, which is fine. We can keep him for 18 months and then maybe sell him for his final year. Relegation release of 15 million, very happy with that. Would count as a very big profit for the club, and no one would pay it anyway. He's not going to get in Premier League Team of the Year, so we'll edge down this other stuff, and we'll try and get him for a little bit of a lower wage. What's he earning at the minute? 34, right, we're not going to pay you that much. We'll pay you 24, I think. And then have you played for your international team? Yes, you have. So what we'll do is we'll offer him a couple of incentives, which is we'll agree to pay him a bit of his sell-on fee, and we'll also offer to give him a bonus after playing 30 league games for the club, because I don't think he's going to do that either. And at that point, we'll agree to pay him 30 grand a week. He's not happy with that. We're going to keep edging it up, because it said it's a promising start to discussions. So we're not going to be too worried about missing out here. At the end of the day, this is a bonus signing. It's up to him if he wants to reject Premier League football. We could probably go and get him for free again a few months later. So I'm not going to get too upset if we don't get this done. 25 grand. I'm going to go one more. I'll go 26. I'll offer an extra 25 grand there. But then that's the big one, isn't it? So no, we won't offer that. Don't lose your principles, people. Don't be afraid to negotiate. This is a signing we want, not a signing we need. If it doesn't come off, the only person losing out is him. Will you take it? No, you won't. We'll walk away. See what you do there. Are you going to sack your agent, or are you going to wait till the summer Because at that point, if no one better pops up, this guy will be a free agent. We'll take that opportunity and that risk. Let's go and get ahead with the rest of the day, see who else moves out, and whether our director of football makes any bids for the remainder of deadline day. Well, old Vasco is at it again, and he's trying to raid Bristol City as we were a moment ago. Dennis Mensah is a young goalkeeper. I can see why he's gone for him. He's got real potential for the future, but I'm guessing it's been rejected. Wow, he'd offered 15 million. He's not good enough to be my record transfer. Jesus. No, we're not going for that. 12 hours to go. Vasco's gone mad, and I don't think there's going to be much happening. Well, this one from Vasco Oliveira does interest me a little bit more, depending on the fee, because Samuel Edozie is a player we did look at in the summer. I think it was this year or last he was a free agent, and he went to West Ham. Must have been last summer. They've stayed up. I mean, he's a good footballer, but at 28, he's on a decent wage, and if that's 15.5 million, again, he's not being my record transfer. No, he's offered 6. Right, okay, hang on a minute. How has he got that deal done for 6 million quid? That's an incredible effort. He's transfer listed for 15 apparently. And he's pulled off a cheap deal for someone who would definitely be a key part of the squad and basically replaces Fornals, who we've lost earlier in the window. Now the wages at the moment are a little bit high, but I reckon we can push them down a tad. And again, we can do the same of last time. If it doesn't work out, we're not missing out too much. You don't tell us who we're going to sign. Let's see what your demands are. No extra clauses, which makes it a bit easier and allows me to add in other stuff. So instead of me boring you to death as we go through the negotiation, let me get the offer down to where I want it, and then I'll come back and show you. So this is what we're going to go for here, which is about 25% off the wages he wanted, which is essentially us doing a relegation wage drop without having to get relegated. We're also dropping down a signing on fee a bit. We've dropped down the other clauses, but we've given an incentive to do a Ross Barkley at Luton, which is come in and be a superstar. If you get an international appearance, you'll get 32.5 grand a week. And if we get relegated, you can go for 10 million. Is he happy? He's happy with that. A good way to keep the wage bill down and incentivise players to do their best. And as we look to Samuel Edozie as a sign-in, we could have one coming in on deadline day, which is a bonus. Notts County have come in for Ezra Harrington, who were of course looking to get off the wage bill. They've offered 80% of his wages and a small fee. Very happy with that. And overall, deadline day's looking all right and not too expensive yet again. Well, if I'm remembering rightly, we've got our first completed deal of the day, which is David Harkin going to Crawley. The new January signing from Larne is going off to get some EFL football. Apparently, we've made a bid for Mensah. We are not going back in again. The difference between the clubs is astronomical, and he is not becoming our record signing. I can assure you of that. Well, just an hour later, and it's all happening. We've got Harkin out. We've now got Ezra Carrington going to Notts County. He wasn't there before, was he? I don't know why I thought that. He'd been at Motherwell. He made 10 appearances. Hopefully Notts County give him more football. But here's the big deal of the day. Fornals has left the club. We've got a couple more moving on loan. So let's get in that one player. And I've always mentioned this. Just getting one senior level player to freshen it up. You don't want to have the huge overhaul we had last summer, but you do want to just keep things fresh. And for this guy, it's a real opportunity. It's going to be 7.2 million overall because he will make the 10 appearances. But a 24 grand a week wage is low. He's still in his prime at 28. He's got the reputation. He's got ability on the ball. He's someone who can make a difference for us. And crucially, he can play off both flanks. He can play a little up front. He gives us versatility as well. Let's accept that deal for Samuel Edozie and meet our new signing, who is going to be a really good addition for this club. He's made an offer for a Mender of 23 million quid. What are you doing, Vasco? Seriously, get a grip. If you're going to sign someone for 23 million, it needs to be the best player that's ever played for this club, not a backup centre-half. Samuel Edozie is a rotational winger. I'm going to get him training so he's more comfortable on the right of midfield. He's also playing all right on the left as well. I'm going to give him a squad number, register him for the squad, all of that sort of stuff. Why is he not showing up there? Am I going mad? Is it just because he's unavailable still? Number 17, Samuel Edozie. You get registered for the squad and you become the latest signing and probably the only one of the January window at Southend. Shame we couldn't get Lions from Bristol City as well. but at least this gives us a bit of squad depth. Now for the last 8 hours, let's see who leaves. Well, 5 hours to go, and I know that Oliveira's come up with the odd gem before, but this is getting silly now. He's offered another record transfer for a backup level goalkeeper. I'm not spending £15 million on a backup. What is wrong with you? Well, I'm almost speechless now. With 3 hours to go, an offer for 30-year-old Sol Bryn, who is an incredibly average goalkeeper, very solid at SPL level, but not Premier League at all. And he's offered 14 million. I mean, it's been rejected, which is even more remarkable. But that is a ridiculous offer. Vasco, just go to bed, son. Well, this time, he's made a loan offer for a goalkeeper. There's only 1 hour to go. I'm not sure why he feels we're so short there. We've got 3 senior goalkeepers. He is a good one, this young player, Kaya Roberts, but the wage is going to be big. He's injured at the moment, and there's no prospect of him staying in the future, so I don't really get the benefits of it. We've offered 38.5 grand a week, which I'm pretty sure, don't hold me to this, would make the backup goalkeeper the highest earner at the club. Is that right? Yes, it is. So I think you know what my answer is going to be to that. Vasco, go to bed and get yourself feeling better, because something is going very wrong in your head at the moment. That should be deadline day over. No offers for Jack Morehouse. We've got a few of the players out on loan that we wanted to, and now we've got a strong squad for the season. Well, he did try one more before the deadline passed, Vasco Oliveira, another goalkeeper, this time a 34-year-old. I've genuinely no idea what he's doing. But this is the window overall. 2 additions, 1 a youth player who's now gone out on loan, and on deadline day, 6 million quid for Samuel Edozie, who I do think will be a good player in this squad, and at the very worst will be useful and just freshen things up for the rest of the season. Most of the outs were loan deals, the likes of Mabama, Jigel, etc., who will hopefully come back and play a role next year. And then on a permanent front, it was Pablo Fornals who forced his way out at the start of the window. So the transfer window, not been the busiest for us, and we've still got the lowest wage bill by a country mile in the division. But the next lowest is Norwich, who we beat last week, and that result has been the crucial one. They've brought in a few players, but we've got ourselves out of that real dangerous position. We're 5 points clear of the bottom 3 with a game in hand on Forest. We've got Forest at home this Saturday. We've got Southampton away next week. It's all starting to look pretty comfortable at the minute. We've also later in the month got Liverpool, Leeds and Sheffield United. You can see they're all in and around us as well. So I might, with us out of the cup, I might show the next 2 games as the next episode, because they're probably the biggest ones left of the season, aren't they? If we win or get 4 points out of them, we're virtually safe. And if we don't get any points out of them, we're probably bang in trouble. I was going to do Leeds and Sheffield United before, but they're both in slightly different battles at the moment. So we'll come back for the next 2 matches. We'll do Forest and we'll do Southampton. Samuel Edozie, I'm sure, will make a debut in one of them. But what a big win at Norwich. Our first clean sheet since God knows when. Our first clean sheet since the 26th of October at home to Sheffield United. And that was playing half a game against 10 men. So a cracking effort. Joe Hugill with a big late winner. And we're starting to look like we're going to survive again. How do we make the next step of progression? That's going to be the big question. If you want to stay up to date and find out, and you did enjoy this episode, then please do put a thumbs up on it. Let me know what you thought of the big 1-0 away win, and most importantly, the signing of Edozie on deadline day. Will it add enough to the squad, or should I have done a little more? We missed out on Andy Lyons, but we'll go back in for him in the summer. But next time out, it's going to be 2 relegation 6-pointers and a chance to all but secure our safety with a fair part of the season to go. If you want to stay up to date and find out if we can do it, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. In the meantime, we'll be back tomorrow with AFC Bournemouth for our first ever European Europa League action from FM24. Come and join us for that, but then we'll be back with this in 2 days' time. If you missed any of the other recent stuff though, you can find it up in the eye above. We had Sunday Special, a nostalgia trip to FM09, the experiment series, the guides, the football podcast and the Twitch channel. Links all up in the eye above or the description below. But thank you very much for watching and following along as always. I'll see you back here next time for 2 6-pointers at the bottom.